Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media. Today I'm joined by Raj Desai, Senior Vice President for Procurement and Contracts, also Chief Commercial Strategist for EPC Fluor. So I'm delighted to see you this morning, Raj. You will be a part of our Breakbulk Americas, the Digital Special, looking at the business outlook for key sectors. So that will happen on November 3rd as part of a panel, and we're certainly looking forward to that and your participation. So I want to thank you in advance.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Leslie. It's a pleasure being on board today, and looking forward to be on the panel on the Breakbulk digital platform.
Great. So as everyone can see, Raj is in his office. Lots of things going on at Fluor. We're hoping to get a little insight and preview just to sort of pave the way for the upcoming session. So let's start, Raj, with how has the disturbance over the last 6 months, primarily the pandemic and perhaps oil prices, affected the project pipeline or projects that were close to starting around the world?
Well, I can tell you from the industry viewpoint, the projects are definitely affected, and the investment patterns have changed. The clients have basically gone back and suspended some of the projects, and some of them have been cancelled. The projects that are in existence, we have issues there as well because of a disrupted supply chain. We do have suppliers who just cannot go back and start their manufacturing in certain countries, and those effects were broadly seen during March, April, May timeframe. And slowly and steadily, we saw things improving back, and we are seeing the supply chain getting stabilized. We are getting our materials coming back on track, kind of thing, and slowly and steadily also seeing a trend where things are going to see a positive end pretty soon, and that's where the overall viewpoint is, Leslie.
Well, that is good. It sounds somewhat optimistic.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is good. Now I'm wondering, on these manufacturing countries, etc., do you see any long-term impact or shifts in where manufacturing will occur?
Well, we are talking about a lot of reshoring and changes in supply chain strategies, and we are talking to our big suppliers who have got manufacturing capabilities overseas, and there are talks about that, Leslie, and that may take a new shape pretty soon. We are also seeing consolidation of supply market, truly speaking, with some of the small manufacturers probably getting consolidated with the bigger ones, and some of them going away altogether because of the current economic situation. We do see that effect for sure, but at the same time, I can tell you that they are getting more and more stronger in last couple of months that we have seen, and we have seen them emerging back in terms of starting their manufacturing capabilities. And with that in mind, I can tell you that while we'll see a change, the changes may not be that very drastic that people were fearing about.
Well, that again is good news. Let's see, what markets or sectors in your experience over the last few months have been most resilient, and those that have gotten through this difficult time seem to be on the rebound, versus those that haven't been able to make it? What are the reasons behind that?
Well, it's the basic nature of the business that these sectors are in, Leslie. So if I talk on a broader sense, if you talk about companies like Amazon and Facebook and Microsoft and Apple's, you can't put them into any particular sector, truly speaking, because of the depth and the width of their diversity that they have over there, number one. But at the same time, if you look at the sectors that have done well, I would basically look at the pharma sector, the healthcare sector, and the food sector that have done quite well. the small, the so-called retail discounters have done quite well in this arena. And slowly, as you move on into the other sectors where we have seen problems, are basically on the manufacturing side of the story. But it all depends on how this whole thing is going to move forward. And I am pretty optimistic over here. Finally, the world has to go on, right? And we will have all the basic needs that we need. The human population is going to exist, and it's all about the timing on when we get the vaccines back in place, kind of thing. And if we get those vaccines in place, I can tell you all these sectors are ready to rebound. That even includes the manufacturing sector, the industrial sector, as well as the oil and gas industry. So there is no reason for them not rebounding back, kind of thing, because I don't see a permanent deformation in any of these sectors that I've seen occurring so far.
Okay. So as a strategist, just big picture here, what factors do you take into account, and what does the process look like when you're viewing a somewhat uncertain landscape? What kinds of things are you looking at to build a plan to perhaps adjust as you move forward?
Yeah, the buzzword in the industry these days is resilience, and business resilience is what we are talking about over here. So I would say that business resilience that you see, you can have certain element of contingencies that can be built in over there. You can basically have some kind of modularity in terms of a small sector that can be affected would not collapse the entire system. Those kind of systems built into your whole thing. Diversity is another big factor that I just talked about. Business diversity definitely helps. So those are some of the things that you can build in. But I would basically see resilience as a continuous process while you go through and navigate through the different business environment that comes through over a period of time. So my take on that is basically, if you are sitting on a driving wheel of a big industrial sector that you are in, you are basically going to sense, and then you are going to drive. You are going to steer and adjust your business. Number one. Secondly, you basically sense in terms of what is changing, and based on that senses that you get in terms of business environment getting into a shift or a permanent change kind of thing, you respond to that system. So you get into the response side of it, and then basically finally you basically adapt to that change, and then transform your organization to get to the new path, and make sure that the organization keeps on continuing on the path of progress, and then you flourish. So that's the overall scenario that I would see in terms of a strategy viewpoint kind of thing, in order to make sure that your business stays on track and does well.
Okay, that is great. I think we'll end with that. That is fabulous advice. And we will look forward to hearing more from you on November 3rd during the Business Outlook session. Thank you so much, Raj.
Thanks. It was a pleasure, ma'am. Thank you very much.